Yo, did you start the camera yet?
Yeah, I started it.
Then why didn't you tell me? Alright, whatever. Hi, my name is Michael Chao, and this is my partner here, Andrew Pappas. And today we'll be discussing about the celebration of Beowulf's life.
We both picked different parts of this story to look at.
The part I chose to do is Beowulf's three battle, where Beowulf faces Grendel, Grendel's mom, and the fire-breathing dragon.
And I analyzed the other stories within Beowulf.
Let the story begin.
The Wrath of Grendel. Grendel is an evil swamp beast that attacks the soldiers of Herod. King Hrothgar builds a meat hall for his soldiers, and Grendel attacks the soldiers as they sleep there.
The heroic ideal in the Wrath of Grendel. One element is excellence. He slipped through the door, and there in the silence snatched up 30 men. Line 36 to 37. This shows the type of excellence that Grendel is able to snatch up 30. The Wrath of Grendel and the elements of the epic. The element of supernatural. He was spawned in that slime, conceived by a pair of those monsters born. Line 19 to 20. This is very supernatural and shows that Grendel was not spawned in a normal way by this slime and by these two monsters, a very supernatural being. The Wrath of Grendel and Anglo-Saxon time period. Christian belief. To those who will rise to God, drop off their dead bodies and seek our Father's peace. Line 102 to 103. This is an example of Christian belief, and it shows the dedication to God. The Wrath of Grendel, Anglo-Saxon time period, poetic term. Kenning. So mankind's enemy continued his crimes. Line 79. This kenning is used to call Grendel mankind's enemy.
Beowulf, a brave hero of Geatland, hears of the problems Grendel is causing in Herod. So Beowulf gathers 14 of his best men and sails to Herod. They sailed through a large storm, and Beowulf guided them through the storm. When they arrive in Herod, Beowulf talks to King Hrothgar, and Beowulf agrees to attack Grendel.
The coming of Beowulf. Heroic ideal. Courage. He'd go to that famous king, would sail across the sea to Hrothgar, now when help was needed. Line 114 to 116. This is a good example of courage because he is willing to sail across the sea to help Hrothgar when he needs it. The coming of Beowulf. Elements of the epic. Ceremoniously long speeches. We are Geats, men who follow Hygelac. My father was a famous soldier, known far and wide as a leader of men. His name was Edgetho. And there's more, but that would take too long to read. And that quote is from line 173 to 199. The coming of Beowulf, the Anglo-Saxon time period. Christian belief. They gave thanks to God for their easy crossing. Line 143. This quote shows dedication to God and acknowledging him to be the decider of fate. The coming of Beowulf, Anglo-Saxon time period. Pagan belief. Of their golden helmets, wild boar heads gleamed. This shows the worship to the boar head and polytheism.
Beowulf's first battle was against Grendel, a horrible demon who lived in the swamplands of Hrothgar's kingdom. Hrothgar accepts Beowulf's offer to fight Grendel and holds a feast in the hero's honor. During the night, Grendel arrives to the meat hall. Beowulf fights him unarmed, proving himself stronger than the demon who is terrified. As Grendel struggles to escape, Beowulf grabs the monster's arm and tears it off, leaving it wounded. Grendel retreated back to his swamp and slowly dies. Grendel's arm was left behind and is hung high in the meat hall as a trophy of victory.
Beowulf against Grendel. One of the heroic ideals shown is excellence. One of the quotes that shows excellence is from line 403 to 406. Beowulf, a prince of the Geats, had killed Grendel, ended the grief, the sorrow, the suffering forced on Hrothgar's helpless people. This shows Beowulf's excellence by killing Grendel when no one else could. Another heroic ideal shown is courage. One of the quotes that displays courage is from line 343 through 345. And Dane shook with terror, down the aisle the battle swept. This shows Beowulf is the only one courageous enough to attack Grendel. The element of the epic. One of the elements shown is supernatural. One of the quotes that shows supernatural is from line 315 to 316. He came to rip him apart, cut his body to bits with powerful jaws. This quote shows that Grendel is a supernatural monster that is extremely powerful. Another element shown is action on an immense scale. The quote that shows that is from 350 to line 352. Its benches rattled fell to the floor, gold-covered grating, as Grendel and Beowulf battled against them. This is a good example of immense action. Beowulf in the Anglo-Saxon time period. Christian beliefs. One of the quotes that displays Christian beliefs is from line 383 to line 385. Once the affiliated of men, tormentor of their days, what it meant to feud with Almighty God. This shows the heavy Christian influence in Beowulf.
In the monster's lair, Grendel's mom is mad about Grendel being hurt, so she kills the king's best friend. The next morning the king asks Beowulf to kill Grendel's mother, and says he will give Beowulf tokens of his appreciation if he kills her.
The monster's lair, heroic ideal, royal generosity. Save us, once more. And again twisted gold heaped up against ancient treasure will reward you for this battle win. Line 445 to 449. This is a great example of Hrothgar being generous to Beowulf and being grateful to his warrior. The monster's lair, the epic. The element I found was that the action starts at a critical point. The poem starts just after Grendel's mother has killed Hrothgar's closest friend in the night. When Hrothgar finds out, he goes to Beowulf and asks him to help.
Beowulf's second battle was against Grendel's mother. Grendel's mother is a dangerous creature who came to Herod seeking revenge for her son's death. Before she runs away, she murdered one of Hrothgar's most trusted advisors. The geese travel to the murky swamp where Beowulf dives into the water and fights Grendel's mother in her underwater lair. He kills her with a sword made by a giant. After she was killed, Beowulf looks for Grendel's body and decapitates the head and brings it back as a prize for Hrothgar. The Danish countryside was now safe.
Heroic ideal. Beowulf vs. Grendel's mother. One of the heroic ideals shown is excellence. One of the quotes that displays excellence is from line 532 to line 533. Bust so massive that no ordinary man could lift its carved and decorated length. He drew it. This displays his extraordinary excellence, being able to pick up this giant sword. The element of the epic. One of the elements shown is supernatural. One of the quotes that displays supernatural is on line 469. For hours he sank through the waves. This shows the element of supernatural is strongly interconnected. This shows Beowulf is superhuman because no normal man could be underwater for hours. Beowulf in the Anglo-Saxon time period. Christian beliefs. One of the quotes that displays Christian belief is from line 543 to line 544. As though burning in the hall and as bright as the heaven's own candle. This shows the Christian influence in Beowulf with the idea of heaven's own candle being the sun.
50 years later, Beowulf's third and final battle was against a fire-breathing dragon who is guarding a tower full of treasure. Beowulf brought along 14 geese to fight the dragon. During the battle, all the geese ran away except for one, Wiglaf. Beowulf then goes to attack the dragon and was bit on the neck. Wiglaf then out of nowhere comes in and stabs the dragon and was then defeated. Beowulf was slowly dying and told Wiglaf his final request. According to Beowulf's wishes, they burned their king's body on a huge pyre, then buried him with a massive treasure in a barrel overlooking the sea.
Heroic ideal. Beowulf against the fire-breathing dragon. One of the heroic ideals shown is courage. One of the quotes that displays courage is from line 650 to 652. Then Beowulf rose, still brave, still strong, and with his shield at his side and the mail shirt on his breast, strode calmly, confidently toward the tower. This shows Beowulf being extremely calm and courageous even when he is about to risk his life. Another heroic ideal shown is enduring fame. One of the quotes that displays enduring fame is from line 707 to line 709. That's two lines, I think. Flames the king before, but now a beaten warrior. Beowulf dies gloriously in battle like a good Anglo-Saxon would. The elements of the epic. One of the elements shown is ceremoniously long speeches. One of the quotes that displays that is from line 624 to line 628. I've known fear as a youth. I fought in endless battles. I am old now, but I will fight again. Seek fame still if the dragon in the tower dared to face me. Beowulf and the Anglo-Saxon time period. Pagan belief. One of the quotes that displays pagan belief is from line 685 to line 686. For the first time in his life, that famous prince fought with fate against him. This showed the pagan belief of fate, a pre-planned life.
The spoils. Wiglaf brought Beowulf back the treasure he wanted right before he died. Beowulf then told Wiglaf that he was the new king and instructed him to build a tower in his honor so he could be remembered. Then his soul left his flesh and flew to glory. The spoils. Heroic ideal. Excellence. The gray-bearded lord of the Geats had ended those flying, burning raids. Line 804 to 805. This quote is significant because it shows that Beowulf was the only one who could end these flying, burning raids that happened, and he successfully took down a dragon. The spoils. Heroic ideal. Loyalty. Wiglaf does exactly as Beowulf asks. When he is dying, he tells him to go get some treasure and he brings it back for him. In doing this, Wiglaf grants Beowulf his final wish. The spoils. Anglo-Saxon time period. Christian ideals. For this gold, these jewels, I thank our Father in heaven. Line 116 to 117. This quote is significant in showing that people are still dedicated to God and believe that He is the reason for every good thing happening. The farewell. The Geats built the tower and sealed Beowulf's ashes in the tower walls. They buried the treasure they had acquired into the sand, and Beowulf lives on in the Geats' memory forever.